So everybody who is in here and all the people walking in, welcome to customer service battles, horror stories, war stories, whatever you want to call it. Its name changes every year, but the content does not.
That's right. The way this panel works, for those of you that are virgins to it, is Chaston and I will share a story or two from our own experiences, and then we go around the room. Naturally, the stories you share make us look like amateurs, so that's why I enjoy this panel so much.
I'm not an amateur, trust me.
Oh my
Not
God.
anymore.
Not anymore, huh? So, I get called out to a motel.
Well, hold on. You have to give them the background of what you do for
Fine.
service.
Fine, back up for a second. I am an IT support specialist. Which means I deal with the finest America has to offer. And it's never their fault, it's always mine. Yeah. So, I get called out to a motel, just a little mom and pop. And they want to know why their stuff isn't working. And you go and it's hardwired ports. So I'd go plug in, it would work sometimes, not work sometimes. And then I started realizing that there was a pattern to this, because every time it stopped working was after when someone ran a sink. So I started thinking, okay, where's your switch? So I go looking, and on the outside in a little hut attached to the building, they had placed the switch on top of the water heater. And then when I pointed out that every time the water heater was heating up to heat the water, it was overheating the switch and it was power cycling, they called me a naive idiot and to send a real tech that knew what they were doing. And ladies and gentlemen, that is called dealing with the public. You are never correct, it's always them.
Of course.
Yes, just getting warmed up.
Now, on a side note though, you may be an IT support specialist, but let's face it, help desk does not always know what they're doing.
Oh God, no. We just fake it till we make it. If it sounds believable, we just roll with that. So it's not about whether if you break something, it's about how fast or how effectively you can blame it on somebody else.
I work at a university in the political science department. Now, I have a question for all of you. Can you tell me what this is?
Looks like a laptop.
It is a laptop, but what kind of laptop?
Maybe a MacBook.
It is a MacBook. What does MacBook run?
MacBooks and Windows.
Mac OS. Help desk wanted to tell me that my brand new laptop, that was the department's, that needed to be re-imaged, was to have Windows on it. Do you know what happens when they re-image it and only put Windows on a MacBook?
Kernel white.
It crashes, but MacBook, which we all know computers do, they have their own little wonderful sounds that let you know something's wrong. Thing sounds like a squealing dog. Just I call help desk and I ask them what has happened. Well, we put Windows on there. I said it's a MacBook. It's supposed to have OS on it. They said no, it's supposed to have Windows on it. I started up the laptop and I just laid the phone on top of my laptop. Guess what? Help desk was out in my office in about 5 minutes reinstalling. So, just to say, help desk is not always right. Everyone else in the customer service industry can be, not help desk.
See, I don't work at help desk, because help desk gets to sit behind a phone and deal with people. I have to deal with them face to face. Another story I have that happened very recently was I got a ticket that someone's TV at a bar, because I do a lot of business customers, was not working, and that's important because people like to drink and watch sports. So I show up and I say, okay, what's going on? Oh, the TV's not working. Plug into the electrical socket. Oh, it's working now. What did you do? I plugged it in. Why didn't you tell me to do that by phone? I tried to. You said you tried all the troubleshooting steps. Well, it's your fault. Say what you want, but you owe me a $200 call fee now to plug your TV in, so you tell me whose fault it really is.
Was it a complicated plug at least?
Oh my goodness, had to wiggle it in. Oh, it's the worst. So now, we'll pass it off to you guys. Who's got a story they want to share first? Let's see. I will go to the suitor over there.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so I work for this major chain of stores, which you probably know. You know, doors. Okay, so I was the only minor up on the registers, and there was like 8 registers open. Whoever the agent decided with the good luck to come through my line with an entire thing of alcohol when we have lines back all the way up to clothing, that's a mistake. Never go through the line if you have or if you have alcohol and you're like, I wonder if this is a minor. Could someone you know is an adult? Please, not to have to wait, make everyone wait 30 minutes and then cuss me out because of it. Not my fault. We have so many lines open, you chose the wrong one at the wrong time.
Correct.
So, I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna say that you work for this company, but Walmart, has anyone ever been there anytime around Christmas time? We've got 34 lanes of Walmart checkouts. You get to use 2 of them.
It makes no sense.
Has anyone been to a Walmart and ever seen every single lane open?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, one Black Friday, or
Yes.
Apparently I have to be at least
But-
30 to be able to see this.
But while they did that, their computers crashed.
Oh, wow.
Did they call you?
I was standing there and it crashed right before I got up to it. I was like, it's gonna be a bad day. Oh, they had to call the police. People started rioting in the store over it.
Where were you shopping, Chicago?
Northwest Indiana. It's crazy.
Oh, so Chicago lane.
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't deny people getting their freaking food. Oh boy. Whew. Who's next?
All right, I gotta do one. It's a little long.
You're not allowed to tell the story about the prince.
About the, oh no. I work in pet retail, baby.
boy.
This was back when I worked at PetSmart. There was a little girl that came in with her parents to buy crickets for her leopard gecko. And she always brought the lizard with her in this like little tub. I don't think it lived in it, but that's what she brought it in. One day she comes in and this thing is like, and I'm like, oh my God, it's dead. And it's not dead yet. Unfortunately, this time the father brought it in. It was usually the girl and her mom. And I look at him and I'm like, that lizard is gonna die. And he goes, I know. And I'm like, you should probably give it to vet. He's like, I won't. I was like, all right. So I give him the crickets and I send him on their way. I'm like, that cricket's gonna be dead within a few days, if not tonight. She comes back. This lizard is still alive. It's even more crinkled, but it is still breathing. And I tell the mom, I'm like, I am surprised that lizard is not dead yet. And she goes, I know. And I'm like, it is on its way out. And she goes, yeah, I know. And I was like, do you want to get another lizard to like prepare her? I'm like talking her through like the mourning process of her like 8-year-old child. And she goes, no. I'm like, well, maybe, you want to keep it to bury it. And she goes, yeah, but I don't want her to see it die. So long story short, I ended up with this dying lizard at my store and this woman's phone number. And she's like, can you call me when it dies? And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, sure. And I'm texting this woman back and forth. It takes this lizard another 3 days to die. It had been like a week and a half for this thing to finally pass away. And I text her and I was like, it's dead. And then she sends the father to pick it up and they go home and bury it and then buy the girl a new lizard. But I'm like, why do I have this woman's dying lizard in my hands? So that's what I was.
Logic just need not apply.
You know?
Oh my God.
Because that's what I want in the back room of my store is a dying lizard. It really brightens up the aesthetic
It's
of the
just-
store.
it's
Makes you feel better about your own life because you're looking at it
You're looking
going,
at it-
at least I can do it.
It's like bones are inverted.
My
It's like,
friend that works at Petco, they had a problem because if you brought your fish back in a certain amount of time, they would take the fish back and give you a full refund. Well, they had what was called the dead tank. Because whenever they got fish back that they knew were going to die, they just put it in this tank, and it was just the most sorry, sad tank sitting in the back.
no, at least have like a tank in the
And then someone put on their on the top a hashtag employee motivation. Yeah. This is what a career at Petco looks like. Okay, you don't agree.
So I work at an office supply store, and
Office Max.
yeah, well, Office Depot,
Oh, okay.
same thing.
At least it's not Staples.
Yeah. But for some reason, we started selling pepper spray, and a gentleman came in, told me that he wanted to return the pepper spray because it tasted horrible on food.
So is there an option in your register to click a button, like, you know how when you return things, you put why they returned it, did you put, like, was there a button for either improper use and or is idiot?
No, D for dumbass. Just D.
I just stared blankly at him. I'm like, you do realize that it says on the back, other intended uses are illegal. He looked at me and just walked out.
Did he even get his refund? Did he just go ahead and
He
leave?
just walked. He just. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that's almost as bad as I heard this. I think I told this story last year. I know many people that work at Best Buy, and they got a slow cooker returned, and the reason for the return is, and I quote on the label, saw it myself, cook slowly.
No! Like, at what point can we implement a common sense law, and if you break it, you can get told, no, you're a fucking idiot. We're not doing this for
That
you.
would wipe out half the country.
Or more.
Only half. You think we're
only
going
I mean, think about it this way.
I think you're
It would definitely take
underestimating.
us
I have a story.
All right, go for it, Tom.
I recently started a new job at a home improvement store, let's say. I'm the guy who, you order something, you don't have the time, you don't have the tools, you don't have the skill to put something together, I'm the one who does it. So I assemble a 6-burner, 2-side shelf grill. The customer comes to pick it up in one of those smart car things. And I shit you not, the grill is almost as big as the car. Her words to me are, well, I need it today, so that's why I couldn't get it delivered. Ma'am, do you have any other, no, I'm not, okay, do you want to rent one of our trucks? No, I shouldn't have to rent one of your trucks, you should be able to deliver it. You should be able to have one of, just have one of your employees bring it to my house. I said,
That
okay.
would be $39.95 plus shipping and handling.
I just said, sure, I'll go get a manager. I just walked off.
I know Ace Hardware does assembly and delivery of assembled grills.
Yep.
Yeah, no one else that I'm aware of does that.
It ain't, hey, I'll give you a hint. It ain't Ace. It ain't Menards, and it ain't Home Depot.
That makes
Lowe's.
Improving home improvement.
For a second, I thought you were going to say that, oh, can't you just disassemble it and put it in my car?
I've had one person do that, and I said, okay, who's gonna reassemble it? Oh, you will.
It's like, oh, yeah, I'll just hop in the car with you.
Did you all hear the story about the McDonald's cheeseburger lawsuit? So, here's the story. Guy goes through the drive-thru of McDonald's and orders a cheeseburger with no cheese. They said, oh, you want a hamburger? He said, no, I want a cheeseburger with no cheese. So on the receipt, it literally says cheeseburger minus cheese. Okay? Then goes to a dark movie theater and eats his cheeseburger, which magically somehow has cheese, gets sick and sues McDonald's. At which point, the local franchise owner literally said, no, you're full of shit. Your order was so ridiculous, the manager took a picture of the order with the cheeseburger without cheese on it and said, you can't fix stupid and nasty.
Oh my God.
Needless to say they didn't get the check they were looking for.
I still to this day cannot sometimes fathom the things that I've seen working in the service industry. I used to work at Red Lobster, bartended, served, things of that nature. Now, do you all know what Red Lobster serves?
Steak.
Crab. Clearly chicken.
Crab, lobster. Shut up.
Oh, so they
We
don't
serve
serve steak?
seafood. You know, we see food differently. It's in the commercial. Had a lady come in with her entire family, and they were all allergic to shellfish.
So what was their choice?
No, so here's what they did. I'm guessing everyone in here who likes steak, you prefer to have grilled steak, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a cross-contamination hazard of, cooking steak where seafood is cooked. There's seafood cooked in our fryers, there's seafood cooked on the grill. These people ended up ordering steaks that were sent through the oven that came out looking like pieces of shoe leather because they wanted them well done, which means they had to go through the oven for 45 minutes to reach that temperature.
Oh, good Lord.
They got their broccoli unseasoned, and they requested it to be steamed for 10 minutes, which burnt it. And their baked potatoes had to be raw.
Wait,
So they just wanted
At that point,
potatoes?
it's a potato.
Are they aliens?
Bake this potato.
They waited to be 3/4 done with their meal when they proceeded to call for a manager, so I had to go over. And they complained about the entire meal to me. I was the one that had to take the order because of their allergy. They wrote into corporate about it. I sent corporate the picture, it's kind of the same thing, I sent corporate the picture of where I wrote down the order. Needless to say, I got a really dirty letter the next day, or about a week later from the lady. How dare you not give us free food? That's all the letter said.
Welcome to dealing with the public.
Welcome to dealing with
So
the
they tried to
public.
sting it.
They're all a pack of assholes.
There are so many people that go into a restaurant and try to get free food. It is insane.
Oh, I worked restaurant for
Yep.
7 years. I know that pain.
Okay.
Okay, so my family lives out of state. I live here in good old Indiana. Keep that in mind. My mom and I run a campground up north, and me and her are pretty much the only managers. My 18th birthday comes around. Fun. I have to work on my birthday because it's a busy week. It lands on a Sunday, which is very, very lucky for me. And as a surprise, my family was coming over from the next state to visit me. So as a thing, our activities that we have shut down at 2 on Sundays because nobody's going to be there. So it is my birthday. I am extremely excited. We decided to leave all the activities up for my family that is coming over. We own this campground. We're allowed to do that. So this old lady came up. We live on property. Well, we did. And there's no getting away from the customers. If they want you, they're going to come pound on your door. Yeah, we all see what's going on here. So I'm still in my staff shirt, and I'm running up the door. My family's going to be here any minute. I've got to change, get in my swimsuit, blah, 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 blah. We're closed. And this lady comes up deciding that she doesn't like that we're closing early, and she wants $350 as a return. My mom was inside refusing to deal with this, so I had to deal with it. She stood on our porch, face to face with me, and I was trying to talk her down. And in the middle of my sentence, she goes, "I don't give a damn about what money you give me back, but I want it all back." Okay, but you've been staying here. So I see a familiar van pull up. It's my family that been driving 5 hours. And the lady is standing there. 5 kids, because they're my cousins, run up and start hugging me and tackling me. And she literally comes over and grabs my shirt, pulls me aside, and whispers into my ear, "Fuck your birthday."
Wow. At that point, adult is justified.
Because at that point, the woman blacked out from being humbled.
I walked inside and started screaming my head off. I grabbed pillows and I screamed my head off.
That's when you tell her, okay, you need to leave the property and you never come back.
That's the one beautiful thing about the, we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone.
Oh.
Oh no.
Because
And
now I refuse the right.
then her family snuck back onto the property and tried sabotaging. That was fun.
Of course.
So where were they from? Like Alabama?
They were from Indiana. They were just from like Monticello, which is like 3 towns over.
That explains a lot. Monticello, there's a bunch of crazy people there.
Hey, now that's where some of my family lives.
Well, there's a lot of you. So you know there's a lot of crazy people there. Indiana Beach.
We're not going to talk about Indiana.
Exactly. Who's
First
next?
move on Indiana, we don't talk about Indiana. Who's next?
Well.
Okay, so
You're
this
next.
one, not only does it deal with the public, it deals with the United States government. So I work at a specialty pharmacy as a call center. I take orders for specialty medications all day long. My phone rings. This is about me being on the phone on this job for about a month and a half. I get a call. I give my greeting. And they immediately say, "This is Amelia Johnson from the United States Army. We need you to go downstairs to your fulfillment immediately because there's a package there that may or may not be a biohazard." And we're talking military grade possible biological warfare. They weren't going to say it. They said it was like a class whatever, and that you need to go down there and find that package right now. This was one of 2 packages that were lost and misdelivered by UPS. Just saying.
What can Brian do?
Now wait, UPS or the USPS?
No, UPS.
Okay.
No. And so I immediately like, "Can I place you on hold? Go find a manager." I'm like, "We need to get someone downstairs now because there's something downstairs that we are not supposed to have." So they go down there, they look for like a good 45 minutes because everything is everywhere. And they say, "Yeah, we have an interesting package. It's about yay long. There's about 5 of them. And so the boxes are torn to hell because of sugar." So we get back on the phone, we describe this to them, and they're like, "Oh, thank God, that was just some military satellites. We're going to send somebody to pick them up. The other one must be in Michigan. Let them deal with it."
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
It was
if they're saying let them deal with it, I'm guessing they probably got shipped to Flint.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would have just called them back and be like, "We have your weapons."
We've got them.
So this isn't really job related. I'm currently a nursing student, and as such, I do clinical internships at hospitals. This was a while ago, but I was at a major hospital downtown. 5 a.m. in the morning, started my clinical shift. You know, I'm getting my report from the other nurses and all that. And so I start off my rounds. It's super quiet, super nice. So some backstory. Does anyone here know what a PCA pump is? Patient-controlled analgesic. Man, I can never say that word. It gets you high. It's basically it's a machine that's hooked up to the patient's arm. They press a button and it gives them painkillers. It's controlled by them. It's got a timer on it, and it's got one important feature. It has a little oxygen mask right here, just to make sure you're breathing. To make sure that you haven't OD'd yourself and you're now dying. We need to go in there with a crash, start screaming our heads off. So I'm walking down the hallway, 5 a.m. It's perfectly quiet. And as soon as the thought passes through my mind, "Wow, it's quiet. It's gonna be a great day," I just hear this beep. That goes down the hallway just like that. Like, what? Hear it again. Beep. And then the screaming starts. I just hear a guy going, "Shut it up! Shut it up!" Started running down there. I'm thinking something terrible has happened. So I get there, and there's my patient. He's in his bed. He'd taken his mask off, and of course the thing was going crazy because then you take your mask off, you're not breathing. What does the machine think has happened?
You're dead.
You're not breathing. So it's breathing, it's screaming at him. I sit him down, I get him resituated, I reset the machine. I'm like, okay, you need to keep that mask on so you're breathing and everything's nice. And, no, just run through it. So you keep the mask on, you press the button when you need your pain medicine. So I leave, continue my rounds. 15 minutes later, guess what noise I hear? Beep, beep. Same room. This time it wakes some of the other patients up, so I have call lights going off. 3 or 4 of them. I'm like, oh, you are kidding me. I get my range out in the hallway. I come in. Hi, so-and-so, I'm back again. I noticed that your PCA is ringing again. And his response is, yeah, it keeps ringing every 15 minutes. I'm like, well, did you take the mask off? Yeah, it was really uncomfortable. I was like, well, you need to keep that on there. It's just a safety precaution. I don't want to wear the mask. Take the mask off. It's like, well, it's a safety precaution and we need it, so I get your floor manager. I'm like, I'm a student, sir. I can't really get the floor manager, but I can get my clinical instructor. Get the floor like this way. He's standing up, face turning around. I'm like, okay, I'm getting walk out of there, get my clinical instructor. I'm outside the room, so she's having a one-on-one with the person. All I hear is my clinical instructor's nice, soothing, calm voice through the door, and they were trying to hear through the door. I'm just like, this is going to be a wonderful day. It's 6 a.m. I'm loving it so far. I have more call lights going off from people being woken up by this. I'm sure they're going to be happy to see me. Today is going to be wonderful. That was my experience with a PCA pump patient.
So fun side note to his story. Have you ever had a patient escape and you can't find him?
We have had a patient escape before. We did, well, the police found him.
Hi.
Your favorite.
It was sophomore year of high school, and I had been in a car accident, and I was on a bunch of heavy duty medication. Well, apparently somehow they had turned on. You know how they have the bed alarms?
Yep.
So it's an alarm that when it notices there's not a certain amount of weight on the bed, it goes off, letting nurses know, hey, the patient's not in the bed. Apparently, I found a way to turn that off. I had made it from the 7th floor of the hospital all the way to the 1st. And was waiting for the cafeteria to open so I could get chocolate milk. And alarms apparently started going off up on the floor that I was on. But then I started hearing over the intercoms it was like a code gray or something like that. I'm like, I wonder what that is. And I'm sitting down there in scrubs, drinking chocolate milk. And all of a sudden security runs by and then they come back and they're like, you look like you're out of place. And I'm like, I think I'm supposed to be somewhere else, but I was thirsty. I got in a lot of trouble for that. They made me stay in the room. They locked me in the room. Yeah, they had someone sitting outside my door. I was not allowed out of my room.
Because if you're usually the 1st and 2nd floor are low security, the higher you are in the hospital.
Yeah, I was on the 7th floor.
Yeah, so you were.
And I made it all the way to the 1st.
You were in the high security and maintenance area, so they should have noticed. No, it's usually.
No, it probably took them about an hour to figure out I wasn't in my room.
Because usually where I do my clinicals at, our nurses' stations are at the ends of the area. So I'm surprised no one saw a patient just waltz out of the ward and that's out.
You kid, if you've been a nurse for 30 years, you've seen it all. It's like, oh, well, there goes another one.
There you go.
No.
Somebody should stop him.
So I work in a before school, after school care, and a daycare.
Okay.
I do it all. And so we do a summer camp with my facility. And the last week of summer camp, we get there Monday, we're like, this is going to be a great week, guys. You go back to school next week, we'll have so much fun. So Monday, one of our 4th graders come in, she's a compulsive liar, and she tries to convince the girls around her that she's a mermaid. And then if you spray her with ocean water, she's going to grow a tail. So one of the people she was really trying to convince came up to me and said, are mermaids real? And I looked down and I'm surrounded by kindergartners.
Oh no.
And I'm like, Child number 3, are mermaids real? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, okay, then you've heard it. Go away, I don't want to know what's going on. So this child who was not satisfied with my answer, there's a cafeteria area where they were, and she grabs packets of salt. and starts pouring them into her water bottle, then walks up to this girl and just dumps it. Needless to say, she did not grow a tail.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And that was Monday.
It wasn't from the sea.
So that was my excuse to it. I'm like, let's just not worry about this. Tuesday comes in, and it's escalating. Tuesday, this little kindergartner steps on a caterpillar, and some older girls see it and call him a murderer. And he says, "You want to see a murderer? I'll come and shoot you guys up like GTA 5." Wednesday rolls around, and one of the girls make fun of a kid for his weight. He grabs her and dry humps her. He gets kicked out, but to make matters worse, the girl was the daughter of the head of rape cases for the state of Indiana. So I had like half the police force within the hour. I don't know how she got hold of her mom, because we were trying to contact the mom. We had half the police force in our room in like an hour. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, a kid decides she's Tarzan and jumps from the playground, knocks her head into a metal bearing where a screw was, and rips open her face, and we have to take her to the hospital. Friday, all the workers get together and go have drink.
That's good. I like that. I used to work at a daycare, and I can definitely verify the whole Tarzan thing. You had some kids during nap time, so they're all asleep, and I come inside, and all I hear is like a shuffling noise. It was an older house with tall windows, and this kid had like crawled up in the window, and he just looks at me and goes, "I've been waiting for you," and he just leaps out at me.
I see.
Kids are crazy. Kids are absolutely crazy.
Children are feared horrified sometimes.
They have no fear.
I have I had a wedding. Oh, the best
You had a what?
is like when the parents show up and they ask you, "Oh, were you a good kid today?" And like, "Yeah," and you just look at them like,
No, they were a little hellion.
As all children.
I survived. Well, that's better than my mom was told in 7th grade when it went for the progress report for me that I was a future inmate in training.
What? Is that a shirt? Is that a shirt?
No, my mother told it because I was an angel in middle school, and yeah, we used to say my guidance counselor didn't like me too much.
For those of you who worked in the restaurant before, we had a wedding reception, or we had a wedding rehearsal dinner. Nice 25-top bride, groom, 2 families. And apparently, the 2 families had some tension.
Oh boy.
Because I work at a Bonefish Grill. It's a fairly nice seafood restaurant. We like to think we're high class. And during dinner, one of the little kids on the groom's side decides to take his mashed potatoes and fling them at someone on the bride's side. I have never seen grown-ups actually engage in a food fight before, and I'm just glad we had kind of reserved the restaurant for them that night, because it took about 5 waiters and a phone call to the police to break it up.
Wow. That should have been
Wow. Well, have you heard of the Ryan's riot?
What?
The Ryan's Buffet riot. This is true. Okay? So Ryan's Buffet, it's owned by the same company as Old Country Buffet. So that's set up to show up. Okay? Well, there are these 2 large groups. One is on one side of the restaurant, one's on the other. And they're all up at the buffet getting things. And one of the people feels that their grandmother got slighted by the other people. And so he goes and says, "Hey, you need to get that little, it was a younger kid that did it. You need to teach him how to show respect." And well, this escalated, and then this escalated, and then this escalated. And needless to say, it got so out of control that by the time the police show up, tables were going through windows.
Wow. Oh my God.
Talk about the hat fillers versus the Nicole is like just more.
Yep. restaurant was closed for a while.
And that's why.
Okay, just saying, not mentioning names where I work, and I'm an assistant manager over the front end, so I can tell you all kinds of horror stories. But your IT, thank you for speaking English,
Yeah?
because every time we call in, we can't understand them. But just one that just happened the other day, customer brings back an item, table, bookshelf, something of that sort. Everybody knows how these things are packaged in a box about so big. You didn't realize they had to assemble it.
What?
That's the recentest thing, but I get all kinds, trust me, I get all kinds of things.
But did they miss the print that was like a 36-point font that said some assembly required?
Obviously.
I don't know what kind of table or bookshelf is that, you know.
Open the box, you construct itself.
Yeah, it's
It's like a pop-up books, like you.
Well, I had a person go to return to IKEA, somebody I know. I'm like, okay, well, why are you making this return? I was like, well, they got a mattress, a foam mattress, but they didn't like it, so they were taking it back. Well, to make it fit back into the box, they cut it up into squares and rammed it in the box. And the lady at the check-in, at the return desk, like, how did you fit this back in the box? Most of the time, they just, take it in the back and it's already expanded. And so I fit it all in. So the lady goes, okay, I got to see this, and cuts the box open, and all these squares of mattress go flying
It's like pop-up committee.
And then she said, well, I can return a whole mattress, but I can't return parts of a mattress. Wow. Just
So your story reminded me from my first job. I was 18 at the time, and I worked for a furniture store, and I get a notification customer wants a couch. So I'm in back trying to put it onto the flatbed so I can take it up to them. And every 5 minutes, I'm getting a call that customer's being impatient. Are you coming? Like, I'm only one back here. Yes, it's, trying to get it out. 4 times they called me, and I'm like, I'm finally here. I'm like, all right, where are we going with this? Oh, my ride's not here yet. So I'm like, oh, okay. Waited another 10 minutes with her for her ride to come, and they come in a little PT Cruiser. I'm like, this ain't fitting. Like, oh, we're just gonna, throw it onto the top of the car. I'm like, I'm not. You are. And I just left the couch with her, and I went back into the store.
Like, ain't no problem.
yeah, I ain't touching that. That's liability.
Yeah, that's that'd be a liability on me. And I'm like, nope, you're doing that.
It sounds like they need to differentiate between we have a problem and you have a problem.
Yeah. Well, my neighbors decided, speaking of couches, they needed to get rid of an old couch. Okay? So the proper way of doing it would be to set it by the curb, call the city, have them come pick it up. That's the proper way. These are hillbillies. So they decide they're going to take the house, or the couch, and chuck it onto their fire pit.
Oh, no.
Nice.
The inferno was so big it set my tree on fire, and I live next door. Which prompted a response from, let's see, 2 fire brigades and half the police force. Needless to say, their desire to save money ended up getting them a night in the slammer when they slapped a female officer. Telling them that the city laws don't apply on their private property.
It's in the city.
We'll see how long that lasts.
It was like, yeah, good luck with that.
Oh, people are so interesting.
Oh, fascinating, fascinating. Absolutely the best.
People are bastards.
My name is Anderson. I don't really go for accounts too much. I've been busy working. I work in aviation. Right now I'm a line tech at a company. I won't say the name for obvious reasons. And we deal with a lot of rich people, and a lot of rich people are sometimes they're just not very nice. And we had one particular pilot come in, and it's very common whenever you land and you want to get catering, food service for your customers. So go out to the person's catering, and that was the end of it, gave the services, and he's about ready to go. He comes inside and just goes I need to talk to the manager right now, right now. I need to speak to him. And I just said, I'm sorry, sir, how can I help you? He has the bag of catering. And he goes, what is this? And I'm like, this is extra catering, sir. And he produces a sandwich. The sandwich has been cut in half. And this is the sandwich right here for and he goes, oh, this is not a finger sandwich. This sandwich has been cut in half. It must be a triangle. And it's at that point that I stopped behaving like a rational adult. Because this grown man decided that his catering, which by the way, Indie Flight catering is not very cheap. It's like $50, $60 for a sandwich and a salad. And this person was very upset over the sandwich being cut into half and rather than a triangle. He wanted to speak to our manager, the company director, and the owner of the catering company. And so we just removed the crust for him and sort of rudimentarily cut it into a triangle. And he left us a very nasty review, but other than that, we haven't seen him. I guess the moral of the story is if they're flying a Falcon 500, just stay very far away. They're very mean people.
You know, an interesting thing when you said that about rich people. One day, it was a Friday, I get a call, and this person is ordering a specific medication, which, fine, I deal with this every day. I look at their balance, because we have to check their balance, because if it's over $100, we usually don't ship unless we have to pay. Balance, $59,000 and some odd change. I'm like, okay, you have a balance on this account. Your current order is the same thing. So it's like over $120,000, easy at this point. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm flying in from China tomorrow to come pick it up. I'm sitting there in complete silence. I'm like, okay, how is this going to work? That's what I'm thinking. They're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go there and swipe my credit card. I just have to be there. I'm like, okay. I called 2 managers and they're like, just set it up. I'm like, okay, fine. So I set up that order and I watched it. And sure enough, on Monday morning, it went straight through. They paid over $120,000 for that. It was crazy.
I've seen people with, for lack of language, I've seen people with real screw you money. I've seen people pull on to the, they will actually let you at private FBOs. It's not like a regular airport where you have the TSA or anything.
Right.
It's like, it's a private airport. So you can pull up your little plane or not your plane, your car. And I've seen a dude pull up in a Lamborghini, have his driver come out, open the door, grab the dude's legs, lift them, put them out in the car, and then grab his hand like it's his date, pull him out, and put him in the, like I swear, he just could have put baby powder on his bottom, and that was completed the picture, because you deal with so many rich people, and it's just such ridiculous.
I don't want to move. No, do it for me.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, if someone's paying me, $1 million to wipe their ass, there's things I might do for them.
The only thing I think is worse than rich people is rich people's kids.
Oh,
yes.
Those you want to talk.
No, because they're little intelligent shits half the time. Normal day, and these 2 kids, their parent is like a doctor and her other one is like a business owner. And they come in wearing suits. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. Do you guys have something to do today? No. You have some kind of presentation today? No. Why are you wearing suits? And they both smile. And they said, you'll see. And they go and sit down. I'm like, oh, okay. And all of a sudden, they brought in this big box. And I'm like, what's in the box? And they're like, you'll see. And another kid comes in, and he's in a white shirt and black pants. And the kid rips open the box and pulls out a tux. And he hands him a tux and a pair of sunglasses. I said, what's going on? You'll see. I'm like, I don't want to see anymore. And another kid walks in. And at this point, maybe 3 normal kids walk in, and then one comes in a white shirt and black pants. And he gets handed a tux and a pair of sunglasses. And I'm like, what are you all planning? And he's like, oh, we had this great idea for a play today. And I'm like, we don't do plays. And he's like, oh, now we do.
Spontaneous Blues Brothers.
And I'm like, what? So about 15 children out of the 50 kids I'm watching are now wearing tuxes and sunglasses. And they're all huddled in a corner, and all of a sudden I hear break. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And they all go stand by the entrance. And they just wait. I said, what are you guys doing? And they're like, don't worry about it. Nothing. We're not doing anything. Okay. Then someone walks in. They all pull out these like ruler things, but they're like rulers that like pop out and they're like, "You are not allowed to see the president. We are the Secret Service." And I'm like, "What? Get away from my door now." And I'm like, "What are you all up to?" Nothing. You can't see the president though. And they all scatter off. So then one of my other workers come up and opens the door and lets kids in, and they all jump out of the closet and they're like, "We are the Secret Service. You cannot see the president." What are you guys doing?
They're pulling a Monty Python skit.
Pretty good one too.
And I'm like, guys, go put the suits away, whatever you need to do. And this one girl who always comes in with, you know, her Coke and her candy at 6 o'clock in the morning, silver Coke that morning. And I go and grab them off. And they all, as I walk back into the main room, they all jump out and they're like, "You cannot see the president! Unless you have a gun and it's President Trump, you know what to do." And they all just walk away and then they take off their suits. And I'm like, "That was the setup." And they're like, "Yeah, we need to kill President Trump. Do you know how to do it?" I'm like, "Children, we're all going to write up stick." And yeah, it's children really annoying.
Wow.
I mean, the
Talk about being
assassination
born with
aside,
silver
they got
spoon.
their initiative, they went out and got suits, they established their
They are organized all the time.
Well, if they're raised in an environment with that structure, I suppose it rubs off on them.
I wish I was raised somewhere
That kind of
where
suits
I
scared
a
me.
suit as a kid.
That's
I was very creepy when I wore a suit as a kid, it was very terrifying.
Oh my goodness. Who's next? I was waiting on you.
So, I'm a project coordinator, currently overseeing a printer deployment with a customer who has roughly 1,800 stores. They're consolidating a lot of their printers to the ones that we're installing. Due to various people who are filling out their site surveys, their order deployments, it kind of gets a little crazy between what their corporate office says that your address is, what they say their address is. Stuff gets a little screwed up in that ordering. So we had a printer that was delivered to a wrong location, which is down the road from another one of their stores. And instead of notifying us that it was shipped to the wrong location, they took it upon themselves to move it. This is also a company that is quite known for shipping parcel services.
Like United?
Maybe. So they took it upon themselves to move this printer, and I got the email one morning from a project manager who's like, this printer was reported broken or reported dead on arrival, DOA, and they want to get it fixed. And I'm looking at the email, and it literally states, "You delivered this printer to the wrong location, we moved it, we put it on a trailer to move it, and it was damaged." I don't know how they managed to do it. They put a printer on, Joe Bob's truck, trailer, and it fell off. This thing was shattered, the glass was shattered, everything was bent all to hell. And they're like, "Yeah, it was damaged in transit, shipping, we need a new one." I was like, no. 2 or 3 times the best way to that. One of the customer's team was like, "We'll just buy this one and we need a new one." So it took us another month or so to get them another one, but yeah, try to pass that one off as DOA and shipping.
Put it on Craigslist, most likely used.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Or eBay.
Other than when I worked for DirecTV, I got a phone call out to a lady that, according to her account history, had a service call every 3 months. And it was flagged because there's something obviously wrong with the setup if you're having that many service calls, or so we thought. So I'm going through everything. And she's like, "Okay, yeah, the TV's not working." Sure enough, you turn on the box, no signal. Okay, go figure out. All right, I notice the video cord, or the cord from the satellite, the coax, was chewed up. And I'm like, "Your coax cable's damaged." She's like, "Do you know how that happens?" Like, "Oh, I've got my pet bull over here, Lucy." And I said, "Well, you do realize this provides video?" She's like, "Oh, I thought that was just a chew toy that you guys left every time." Wait, what? I was like, oh yeah, I thought this was just a really long rawhide. What? Why would I run a rawhide to the satellite? She's like, I don't know, to keep it warm. And this lady was being serious. I mean, like dead serious, straight-faced, legit thought that we provided rawhide in the form of a cord. I didn't know what to say at that point. I just kind of stared at her, and I put in the notes, dog, and then nothing else. And my supervisor said, what the hell do you mean dog? And I just said dog. It's just dog. Don't send me back there because dog. Just wow. Mind blown.
Well, speaking of that, we had to call AT&T one time because our internet was out. We could not figure out why we could not get our internet to work. So they sent one technician, which he was late anyway, checked out our outside box and put all new cables, everything was like, it should work now, just restart. Well, we tried that, it still would not connect to the internet. We were pissed, I was pissed. So we called him back, get another technician out like 2 days later. He looks at everything like, why do you guys have all new cables? It's like, because the technician that came before you did that and it still didn't work. He's like, according to my history, he never showed up. So he didn't report that. He used all this material. And then the guy had to go down the street and found out that the box at the end of the street had been chewed up by squirrels. That's the only reason we weren't getting internet. So they fixed that and replaced all the cables, and then voila, we have internet.
Hey, I got one for you with regards to AT&T. So I'm a security guard at an AT&T corporate office inside downtown Indianapolis, right?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the building and how it looks, but it's basically in the lobby. There's this giant glass lobby, right? You can see everything. And there's this one, like, he seemed out of his mind, maybe drunk, old, or something. He decides it's a great idea to come walking up on this little stepway that's meant for employees only. And he decides to just pull down his pants and take a shit directly in front of the glass, in front of me. And so it's like at first, when he's first walking, I'm not paying any attention. But the minute he starts pulling down his pants, I start running over there and beating on the window. And I broke my phone beating on the window so hard. And it's like, then I have to go run around the wall to the door and go yell at the guy, telling him that I'm calling the police, asking for his name. He could barely talk. Of course. And it's like he starts walking away incredibly slowly, and the cops just barely catch him. Like he starts getting into the alley across the street, almost getting away. And then I had to tell the cops, like, look for some old dude that's got no shirt, barely talks. Oh, for some reason he was buff, but he was like 60-year-old buff guy.
Just randomly pitching a loaf.
He was telling AT&T what he thought of their customer service.
Yeah. Well, I got something similar on the New York City subway system. First time in a long time in New York City. And we decided we're going to do it right. We're going to need subways all the time. So we're walking through the platform, and it's busy. And we're waiting on a train, and this guy just drops trout, squats, and pinches the loaf right there. And the thing was that in itself wasn't surprising because New York City is insane. What was surprising is that no one gave a fuck. just people just casually walked around him while he's doing his business. Like, yeah, it happens. It's Tuesday.
On Tuesday, Phil poops here.
So if you don't want to poop here,
just wait till Thursday.
Just wait till
You think
that's after Phil ate Taco Bell?
I got another one that is like for another Philly person. So this one mainly my coworker taught like most of it, but I came in during the shift meeting and taught it. But so I remember I was coming into work one day. For some reason, there was a dude laying on the floor, like at the front door, and police were staring at us, talking to him and asking him stuff. And he was, another person completely out of his mind. He barely talking. The officer was trying to get a name out of him, and he couldn't get names. He couldn't get a birthday either. And he had this tag on his foot, right? And he was also had this bottle with the, they're asking, what is this bottle? And he said it was called concoction. That's all he kept telling the cop. It's called concoction. And he's just, anyway, they eventually find out that this guy had broken out of the hospital. And he was, he was in the hospital for something that he couldn't have done in jail. So they brought him off, securely from jail to the hospital. So you would imagine that maybe at the hospital they have an officer keeping an eye on the room. But no, I guess he left the hospital and then somehow made it to AT&T corporate offices, passed out on the floor there in front of the door.
Your story reminds me of the Russian Postal Service. They had a video come out. This happened last year. And it's the middle of winter in Russia, and this mail carrier is just in a, this is Russia. It's zero fucks given. Let's be honest here. Okay. So he has a package delivered, and the guy's not there. Now, if this was here, maybe they would leave the package by the door. Maybe they'd leave a note saying to pick it up. Not in Russia. In Russia, the guy decides, well, you're getting this package, and proceeds to break the door open on camera. I mean, smashes the door completely open off the hinge, just goes nuts on this door, and then after the door's broken, just casually walks in, sets it down on the table, and leaves. I guess
this package will be delivered by 5.
That's right. No hell or high water, you're getting this box whether you want it or not. Oh,
You sign now.
And you know what? That package turned out in better condition than half of what we get.
That's right. Hey, it's service with a smile.
Now, we've still got 30 minutes left in this panel, which totally want to keep going. But I do have something that I want to say. So last year, the people who came out, which I know that there's some of you that did last year as well, we were able to blow Alkali's socks off. Our panel is not classified as a charity panel.
Correct.
But last year, we were announced as a charity panel because we were able to raise, what was it?
$20.
No, it was higher than that because I matched it. It was just like 30 something and I matched.
Okay.
So we've done, I think, 60 something dollars. I made a deal with Alkali. No one can know what the deal is yet.
Guys, it involves Rumplemans.
But if we can raise money again off of this panel, there's something that Alkali has to do that everybody will get to see. I cannot say it, but it's sworn to secrecy.
Can you at least tell us when he's going to do it?
Before closing ceremonies.
Okay.
Yeah, we did truly surprise him.
So, if any of you feel up to it, we will be collecting for the charity, which we do have a brand new charity this year. I don't know if you got the chance to see all the cute little ferrets running around with their little noses.
Yes.
They were in the boardroom running around, and I was really sure that one of them was going to end up finding the cables to go to the new iPads that we just bought. And I was just waiting for them to chew one of those up, and Alkali cried because he had to spend more money.
They're already trying to escape of the pen they're in.
Yeah, the
but
ferrets
they
are very
ducked it,
mischievous.
I
They're like children. They're very mischievous. But I just wanted to bring that up because last year we did make it as a charity panel. We were announced, Alkali, literally, I'm pretty sure when I took him the
We were
money.
the last one announced, but yeah.
We were the last one announced because we weren't an actual charity panel.
I know.
But
There was alcohol appreciation.
we were able to do that, which is awesome. It's a good cause. So if, at the end of the panel, if anybody does want to donate anything towards the new charity, just bring it up to the front.
And if you do donate, I'll tell you one of my 2 extra stories that are really good.
He does have really good stories, so that's another incentive. You get to hear one of the craziest things I've ever heard of if you donate some extra money. Even just a couple bucks, it goes to help all the little cute, fluffy critters, and we know how much we love fluffy critters. So who's got the next story? Okay, go.
Right. It's a short one. Back at PetSmart again, because those people are the worst. I don't work there anymore. So you know how they have the cat rooms? where like they have like the plexiglass, and then they have like the big one that kind of juts out a little bit. I'm standing around with my coworker and my manager, and we're all talking, and all I hear is bang, bang, bang. I look past my manager, and there's this little girl pulling her arm back as far as she can. Bang on the cat.
Oh my God.
Bang, bang, and I mean it was shaking, like the plexiglass was shaking. And that is the fastest way to bring out not very nice 9. 9 gets really mean when you start messing with the animals. So I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I'm pretty sure I said, "What are you doing?" And I scared my manager to death. And then she goes, she looked at me like I was crazy, and then because I was immediately pissed, and I looked at her and was like, "Didn't you hear that?" And she's like, "Yes." And I guess the father of the little kid was like right behind me, was furious at her, not at me. And then my coworker goes, "Amanda said that she'd never seen you bring the devil out before."
I feel like the service industry is definitely one of the places where not only do you see the worst side of people, but sometimes you find your worst side.
I'm scared of adult men because they were hitting my cages. Like,
I don't see why they think it's okay to hit a cage.
When it was an adult man hitting one of my bird cages. And I was like, "Could you stop?" And then he left.
So, it's kind of like the guy, it's illegal to use this pepper spray in the way. Oh God. Have you ever noticed if you tell somebody that, like, if you've ever been in a scenario where you get to look at somebody and go, this is illegal, they just all of a sudden just walk away. They're like, "I never heard anything that you said. I'm going to pretend I never heard this."
It's like, you did not hear me, I was not here.
This is true. Okay.
Thank God it's true.
IT, working at an electronics store. I won't name this particular one for reasons. The customer comes in crying.
Like legit crying, like
yes.
bawling?
Yes.
Like puppy just died bawling?
Oh yes. I'm like holding her laptop. Holding her laptop. Absolutely terrified. Like, what the hell's wrong? What's wrong? Did you lose your photos or something? I mean, what's going on? She said, "No, my computer told me I performed an illegal operation and I'm going to jail now." It took every part of my being not to die laughing.
Like a
This lady truly believed it. And I'm like, "No, the computer was closing the program. The sheriff is not coming to get you."
I'm surprised she didn't take it to the police station and go, "I did it, I really did it." And you're like, "What the hell did you do?"
I've seen my fair share of stupid customers. This is one where I was the stupid customer.
Oh, I like hearing this.
We've all said.
I use Comcast.
Oh God.
So one
Now
day,
that you first brought it.
it really is, but they're the only service provider in my area.
Same. Go ahead.
So I'm doing some yard work, bagging up some leaves, bagging up some yard waste, throwing it in my trash can. I go inside. My TV doesn't work. My phone line doesn't work. My internet doesn't work. Okay, what the hell? Okay, all the lights on the box are off. What the hell? This was just working this morning. I really don't need this shit. I unplug it, replug it, thinking, okay. Take it out, take it up to the Comcast Center, get a brand new box. Bring the box home. Same thing. Plug it in, doesn't work. I go to check the surge protector on the wall. One of the bags had knocked the surge protector, had turned the surge protector off.
One switch, it all works.
One flipped it on, everything's back on. Yay!
At least you weren't the one who stood there and argued with the Comcast people and told them that they were idiots.
No, I took it into my local store because they couldn't get a tech out until like 3 days and I didn't want to wait that long.
See, when you said yard work, I was thinking you accidentally cut the cable out.
That's what I was thinking. That's where I thought that.
Because I call 811.
I was getting ready to say public service announcement. My dad works for them. Good God, just call 811. It'll make your life much easier.
If you damage an underground cable and you didn't call 811, the costs of repairing even the most simple of nicks will bankrupt most people. It's true. It's ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, but if you're doing it on your own property, then you're just an idiot. Just don't do it on public land, because then you go to jail.
So,
especially if you know. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so this story, it's not about me. It's actually about my dad.
Okay.
So when we used to live in Atlanta, you know, huge city, all this stuff. Well, they have what's called the North Hospital. It is actually a quadrant of North Atlanta that houses 5 different hospitals. They have what's called an 8200 that runs through there. It is 8200 phone lines that are connecting all of these hospitals together, because you know, a hospital doesn't have one phone line. They've got multiple, and then there's all these hospitals. So my dad was the supervisor of this big project. He gets home, he walks through the door and his phone rings. Answers his phone, and all we hear from the kitchen is, "Son of a bitch!" So mom walks out there and goes, "What?" And before she could even see what's happening, he's already walked out the door. We're like, okay. So we decide we're gonna have dinner without him. We're sitting there eating, and all of a sudden, on the news they're talking about how the north side of Atlanta, this north quadrant of Atlanta, all of a sudden doesn't have telephone and all this stuff. and we don't even know that he was on this project. So what had happened was there were contractors who ignored the marks that his men had made and went ahead and hit the phone lines.
Oh, no.
The investigation went to prove that. But in the meantime, while the investigation was occurring and all of this is happening and it's on the news, I remember looking at the TV and going, "That's Dad." And all you see is my dad flipping off the news helicopter, because he was on the ground and he heard on the he had heard the newscast say, and as they zoomed in on him, they described what he was wearing and said that he was the one responsible. So he flips off the news helicopter, of course. This gets the president of the company involved. My dad single-handedly, with one finger, almost bankrupted Channel 5 in Atlanta. Because his company took them to court for slander, because it was proved that it was not the company's fault. They had to make a public apology on the news channel to my dad. The whole next week in school, all I heard was, "Hey, your dad was on TV. He got to flip him off and get an apology."
They apologized to him.
Exactly. The moral of the story here is,
flip off news cameras.
No, because that can turn out bad for you. But the moral of the story is, first off, don't screw with 811. They will come and hunt you down. Second off, sometimes it works in your advantage for someone else being a jerk, because it might come back twofold for you and you come out on top.
So we had this mystery at DirecTV. It was not my job site with coworkers.
Was it the lady with the dog?
No, this one was even more interesting. Basically, they would go and repair a satellite on top of a house. We've all seen it. And a week later, it'd be broken. Just the mast was knocked off. What the hell? There's no trees around this thing. What could be hitting this mast? So by the 5th one, we're like, okay, there's something wrong here. So the homeowner decides to put up a deer cam to watch her satellite dish. And what we find out on the deer cam was her neighbor at 1 o'clock in the morning was coming over with a baseball bat and breaking the satellite dish. And over again. So finally, she goes over there, mad as hell, obviously, saying, "Why are you breaking my satellite dish?" And the DirecTV text there, too, to fix the dish again. It's like, "Dude, why are you doing this?" And the neighbor said, and I quote, "Because I don't want the aliens to find me."
Okay.
Rainbow, stupid comes in all colors, let me tell you. Yep, if a person believed that satellites were somehow summoning aliens to come and
They should
mess
just
with their
put
mind
aluminum
at
foil
night.
on.
Yeah, that's all you need is just aluminum foil.
Clearly, aluminum foil everything would be good.
Or actually, no, it's tinfoil. You need a tinfoil hat.
Yeah. So, anyone else got any stories?
So, back when I was in high school, one of my jobs was I worked as a referee at a paintball arena.
Yeah.
It's downtown. It's dark. We usually do dark underground fighting there. You've probably been there. I quit because it was really expensive to get the equipment to work there and play there and all that. So I just I can find a better job. But so our thing was I was a referee. Whenever people bring the place out, I go out there, make sure everyone's playing safe, playing fine. Keeping the 10-foot rule in play and all that. So, do you know what the number one rule at any paintball arena is?
What?
For the love of God, keep your mask on. There's this group of high schoolers that joined one of the games. They're having a really intense barrage on each other. They're not calling hits on each other, trying to say, you're hit, you should get out. They go, no, and they continue to get shot. Well, as one kid, middle of exchange, goes, I can't see in this mask, pulls it off.
Oh no.
I open my mouth about to go scream at him, put your mask back on. All I see is this bright spray of yellow green paint off his face, and he flops over. 3 seconds later, screaming. So I run over there. This kid had his 2 front teeth knocked completely out.
Oh, damn.
Blood, paint all over his face. Screaming, and I'm sitting there going, ceasefire, turn the lights back on, screaming. So we actually had to call an ambulance for this kid. Wanted to grab this kid, this is why you keep your mask on. So, the lesson to you all, if you're ever playing paintball, airsoft, or any kind of sport, love God, please use the safety equipment. It's there for a reason. Don't lose your front 2 teeth.
I feel like that just goes across all service industries. If they tell you to do something,
Hey, remember, if there's a rule or procedure in place, it exists for a reason. And if you ever go to a convention or a sporting event, etc., and the rules seem ridiculous, it's because it exists for a reason.
It's because someone has I work at we have we call them Ballymoors. They're really a powered stock lifter. It's a little platform. It's fully enclosed. It takes you up about 5-6 feet. This is fully enclosed in about 1/2-inch steel bars. You can move a couple of them to get product on and off, but for the most part, everything folds in.
Right.
While you are in it, you have to wear a safety harness, and the bars are at chest height.
Regulations.
Not regulations. We had these. I find out later, it's because somebody fell out. How? Oh, they jumped.
when you see those really ridiculous policies, I mean, you just know someone's done it before, and that's why they had to make it a rule.
It's just like,
don't spit in someone's food. Well, why would I do that? Well, it's because someone else did it, so we had to tell you not to do it because they were an idiot.
just like, think about neighborhoods. Think about neighborhoods like on TV, or you've probably seen this if you ever go to a traditional middle American neighborhood. You see little kids in the summertime on their bicycles on the sidewalk. Well, it's illegal in many areas to do that because old people were tired of getting run into by toddlers on the sidewalk. So they got so mad they passed a law to force the toddlers onto the street so that way they could deal with cars instead. That is true.
Where is this?
Parts of Indiana.
Gainesville, Georgia. You are not allowed to eat fried chicken with a fork.
What?
Cannot eat your fried chicken with a fork, and in downtown Indianapolis, you cannot walk your giraffe after dark without a leash.
Oh, in Kentucky, it is illegal to dye a baby chick blue and then sell it.
In Indiana, it is illegal to sell a car without windshield wipers, but the windshield's optional.
Wait, what? So wait, if I don't have a windshield though, do I have to have the windshield wipers? We had no windshield wipers.
Way to this state, there's no inspections whatsoever.
Every one of these rules exists.
We
with
used
a
to actually
story
have a
behind it.
safety inspection, and then they
That
got
is
rid
the
of
key
it.
to this.
There's a story to all
Everything
of
has a
these.
story behind it.
And I love
Our
that story.
stories just go to show how interesting the service industry can be. No matter if you work at a gas station, restaurant, library, hotel, God, what else can I name off? A cell phone store? With your, oh my God, are you gonna tell that story?
Which one I gotta go?
The one that involves the police. And just get this cell phone store and police. So you know it's gotta be like
3 of those.
the one that was like smashing everything.
Okay, I'll tell all 3. Why not? Okay, so I used to work for a company called US Cellular. Okay, they used to have they used to be in the Chicago market. They pulled out and sold the Sprint. Well, we had a store in a very interesting neighborhood. Very, very busy store. And this gentleman came in and was very angry about picture messaging charges, I believe it was, on his bill that he claimed he didn't do. And bill was too high, mad as hell. And the manager saying, well, let me look at your phone, looked at his phone, he did send the messages, I'm sorry, you did send these messages, it's in the notes that you declined to pay for a picture messaging plan, so you have to pay the per message rate. He got so mad, he took the chair he was sitting on and threw it through the window, broke the window. The whole store went very quiet. Manager pressed the panic alarm button. The guy, looking at the lady, said, you know what, on second thought, I think I'm just going to go ahead and take care of these picture messages myself, and if you could do me a favor, go ahead and put the window on my bill as well. And I'll get it paid off over about 3 months. And then he jumped through the window and took off running as the sound of police sirens.
Classy.
This shit really happens. That's what makes it crazy.
I mean, it's in Chicago. The last time
my
I saw
fault. Bye. But that's not even my favorite. That one's crazy, but that's not my favorite. My favorite is, closing time. Anyone that's worked in retail knows it's closing time, right?
Yeah.
And customers never like closing time because they want to get their shit and they don't care about your closing time. So sure enough, it's a Saturday, they're locking the store up, everyone wants to go home, and there's still 20 people in the store. So they want to, okay, we'll take care of these 20 people, not let anyone else in. It's great. So they're going through, lock the door. Well, this lady's very upset because she wants to come in and pay her bill. No, sorry, they go to the door and they say, sorry, closed, you have to come tomorrow. And the lady gets so upset, she calls the police to say the store is being robbed and the employees inside are being held hostage. So next thing we know, SWAT team has surrounded the store with guns being pointed in at all directions.
She doesn't
And we have to come out with our hands up. And it's like, wow. And the lady's standing at the shit-eating grid saying, should have just let me in to pay my bill. And and my manager's smiling. She's like, oh, you have no idea what you've done.
Oh, yeah. So much trouble.
Yep. Because the minute they didn't find the hostage situation, she got the privilege of having her liberty taken away.
What a dumbass.
Yes. It's called, especially when people get mad, they don't really think 2 or 3 steps ahead. They kind of think in the moment. And working
And
customers.
they take that super seriously. Like, the police force takes it extremely.
Oh yeah, especially that. Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah, especially when you consider how many resources and people can get shot
man.
accidentally. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But my favorite story of all recently was I worked at a car dealership as a cashier. One of my first jobs. And I asked the mechanic, I said, what's the craziest shit you've seen? He's like, well, generally it's with older mechanics that think they know better. So this guy bought a pickup truck and he decided to change the oil. Well, since it was coming winter, back on older cars, you used to change the thickness of the oil, the viscosity. On modern cars with modern oils, you don't have to do that. The same type of oil can be used in the car year-round. Well, he went, and instead of reading the owner's manual and putting in the correct oil, he decides he's going to do this himself, and he puts in the incorrect motor oil and promptly seizes the engine.
Good my engine.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when he decided to have it towed in, he showed up and said, well, there's something wrong with the car. And the guy says, well, there's the incorrect motor oil in this, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, no, I know better. I know better. I should have been able to put that oil in. It's a design flaw in you. It's like, no, the manufacturer would know. So this guy goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, not getting anywhere, because obviously the manufacturer is not going to honor the claim, decides to go and sue. You know, why not? It's America. Well, by the time he got done with the slander campaign on Facebook and everything else against this dealership, goes to court, and the case blows up so spectacularly in his face that not only did he not win the lawsuit, he had to pay the dealership's legal fees to defend themselves, the manufacturer's legal fees to defend themselves, and he had to pay for slandering the dealership.
Justice is served.
Yes.
The owner's manual is a good thing.
Yes.
Read the manual.
If you ever want entertaining read, go to one of the auto manufacturer's website, like Ford Motor Company. I have a Ford C-Max. They changed the type of oil used from one year to another, and this created this massive debate. And Ford representatives are saying, no, for the model year you have, you should use that correct oil for that year. And finally, the Ford rep said, after arguing with these people politely back and forth, she said, listen, you bought the car, you do what you want with it. Good luck. And honestly, that's the attitude you kind of have to have with some of these people, because logic need not apply.
Just give them what they want. Just be
I
like, this is your
had a customer who bought a $2,500 lawnmower, which is actually kind of a mid-sized lawn tractor. It's one of the riding mowers. No, not one of the big zero turns.
Okay.
Those are like $3,000 to $4,000. Wanted to know, oh, yeah, I walked. I was thinking I was just going to drive the mower home. Okay. So,
You got the gas for it?
guy has walked in with a full tank of gas, like a jerry can of gas, which is a fire hazard if you've ever seen one.
Yeah, inside a store.
Proceeds to ignore everyone telling him to stop, lifts the hood, unscrews the gas cap, starts pouring in gas. The head honcho store manager comes over and asks him to stop, which causes him to drop said can, splattering about 2 gallons of gas all over our floor.
Man, he just wanted to drive his new lawn tractor.
I'm aware. I'm also aware that dumbass could have easily burned down a store.
My favorite IT story I heard last month. This is true. So, you know the Genius Bar at Apple, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're such geniuses.
Yes. Well, they had a customer come in saying her computer no longer turned on. And it was an older, solid, big Apple tower. I'm talking, you spent big money to get one of these, okay? It's one of the big power banks. So, text going in, and he's like, the inside of this is coated in coffee. What the hell did you do? And she's like, well, the coffee holder magically retracted without me asking it to. And he said, the coffee holder? And she's like, what the hell is the coffee? And she's all, yeah, it's the slot right up there. I press the button, it comes out, I put my coffee on. What the fuck?
Those are always classic.
Oh my God.
The coffee holder.
Yes, $2,500 price computer's gonna have a coffee holder. What the fuck?
my God.
I think if we spend that much money, it must have a cup.
Oh, and when the coffee spilled, it got sucked in by the cooling fan and just blasted everything. It was-
I think my favorite commercial of all time is one of the original Geico commercials, the waitress that has people sitting at the restaurant and they have like these big coffee cups attached to their head when they're sitting at the table, and she pours the coffee in there and they are sipping it through a straw, and then when she's taking the one person's order, she's going around and giving the order. That's got mayonnaise on it. I didn't order mayonnaise. And she takes the sandwich and she looks at it and she opens it up and she scrapes the bun off on the side of the table and slaps it back together again. That's a good one.
I've been to a restaurant like that. Literally, it was such a zero fucks given place. I was like, oh, you don't want that? Takes it off, throws it on the plate, puts the bun back on. Now look, no longer on.
And I'd be like, yeah,
God bless
I no
America
longer
right here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can't argue that logic.
All right, well, this concludes our panel. Thank you all very much for coming. Hope you got a few laughs and enjoyed yourselves, and thank you for sharing your stories.
Hope you enjoyed ours, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
And remember, it is not a coffee mug.
it's not a problem. Thank you so much.
It's a bottle
I hope
holder.
that you all enjoyed, and you all need to definitely
thank you very much.
enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Silver Gattoman, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gattoman, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gattoman, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.